Hi everyone, my name is Ida and this is my fourth video painting in watercolor and I hope you enjoy it. Today we're going to be painting a simple tree, and for this painting we're going to need watercolor, and this time I'm using watercolor pens instead of tubes. And for this painting we're going to need Cadmium Yellow, Ultramarine Blue, Prussian Blue, and also raw umber. And the brushes that we're going to be using are number 10 and number 6 round brushes, 2 containers of water, and the paper that I'm using is called Arteza 300 pound cold press, where you can use any watercolor paper you have. So I have already mixed up my colors, the colors that we're going to be using right now. We're going to start with the lighter color, and we're going to mix Cadmium Yellow with Prussian Blue. We're going to try to mix the yellow more than the Prussian Blue. And after we mix them, I'm just going to add a little more yellow. We're going to start creating the shapes. Something like that. I hope it shows in the camera. And try to leave some areas white. You don't want to paint everything. And we're not going to worry about background or anything else. It's just the simple tree that we're going to be painting, because this is not a complete painting. It's just showing how to paint a simple tree. And these are the cluster of the leaves. Just gonna come something like that. I think something. Okay, I'm just gonna leave these areas open because I'm gonna put the branches later on here. So I'm gonna add a little more color here. And just the little leaves here and there. Maybe a little rounder in this area. Something like that. Okay. And then we're gonna use the same color, do the grass area here. So this is the first tone that we're using. We're gonna let it dry a little, and then we're gonna start painting the shadows. For the shadows, we're gonna mix Cadmium Yellow with Ultramarine Blue to get a darker tone for these areas. Because the light is coming this way, so we want the shadows to be here. In this area, we're not gonna put any shadows unless if they're, you know, like under the leaves, then we're gonna put the shadows here. But on the top, we're not gonna put any shadows. So this is the second shadows that we're gonna put. I'm just gonna dry it a little. So okay. So now we're gonna go ahead and start using the darker tone, which is Cadmium Yellow and Ultramarine Blue. And we're gonna start putting the darker tone. I hope it shows here. Something like that. Okay. And we're gonna do more here. And when you start putting the shadow, it gives kind of a 3D effect. And more here. and maybe here, because it kind of it is separated here, so we're just gonna put a little shadow to give it more effect. And maybe here. You kind of have to, you know, from time to time stand back from your painting, and you're gonna see where you're gonna put the shadows. It's gonna show better rather than just standing in front of your painting all the time. It gives you a better perspective. Okay, something like that. Okay, and now we're gonna put the darkest tone. Oh, okay, we're gonna put a little of the shadowy part here too. Something like that, maybe. Okay. And now we're gonna wait a little until it dries. I don't like to use dryer, but you can go ahead and use your dryer to dry it up. I just like to kind of get a paper towel and kind of dab it in. Okay, now we're gonna use the darkest shadow, which is we're gonna mix a little raw umber with the mid-tone that we have already mixed, Ultramarine Blue and Cadmium Yellow. To get the darkest tone. And when you're applying the darkest tone, you're only gonna apply to the middle, the shadow area, but at the edges. You're not gonna come, you know, cover the whole middle tone. So you're just gonna come here, kind of dab it in. Something like that. Because you want your painting to show the lightest, the mid-tone, and also the darkest. You don't want to cover the mid-tone with the darkest shadow. Something like that. I try to stand back from my painting from time to time just to make sure that I'm putting the shadows in the right areas. And also I'm not overdoing it, because then it's gonna start to look muddy and it's not gonna look nice. Okay, because we have a middle tone here, so I'm just gonna put a little darker shadows here, and also a little here. I'm just gonna use, you know, like here and there, just to give it a little effect. And maybe bring it out a little, something like that. Okay, and also use the same tone on this side. Not here, because this is the lightest area. Something like that, and you can just mix it up with the lighter one. And I'll go like that. Okay, now we're gonna start painting the branches and also the tree trunk. So for that one, we're gonna mix raw umber with ultramarine blue. So first you're gonna put your ultramarine blue, and then add a little water and start, you know, bringing the raw umber in just little by little, because you don't want to do it too much. We want the blue to be more than the raw umber. Okay, so now we're gonna start from here. Something like that. Kind of bring it here to create the shadow. Okay. And start giving it a shape. This is your painting, so you can do whatever you want. And the only thing is, I think I shouldn't have painted here, but the only thing is when you're creating the branches, kind of follow the same direction. Let's say if you started here, you're gonna come here and do a branch here. And then let's say this one, I'm gonna use the smaller brush at this point. Sorry, I got carried away. So I'm gonna start putting a branch here, and then maybe a branch here. Whatever you do, just don't overdo it. I'm gonna maybe just bring it out a little here. Okay. And then from here, I'm gonna come here, something like that. Maybe that one doesn't have any leaves on it. I'm just gonna let it be. And then this one here. And you have to use the tip of the brush to do the branches. Just like that. Like that. Okay, maybe one here. You don't want to overdo it. Okay, and now we're gonna use the same color, paint on this side, because this has to be a little darker than this one. This is the light area, so this is gonna be a little darker. I'm gonna use more raw umber and then put more paint. Just let it run. Give it a little shape here. Something like that. And maybe in here we're just gonna use a little darker tone. And I think at this point, I can see that, you know, when the paint is dry, the darkest shadows don't show as much as I want to. So I'm just gonna go back and start putting more darker shadows. The darkest shadows we mixed up from Ultramarine Blue, Cadmium Yellow, and also Prussian Blue. So I'm just gonna add more dark tones to kind of give it a little more 3D effect. Something like that. Okay, I think this is okay. I don't want to overdo it. At this point, you can just get the cadmium yellow and just put very light tones of yellow only at the top of the tree. You don't need as much. Just some areas like that. And I'm gonna add a little, maybe darker tone here. Okay, something like that. So yeah, this was a simple shape of a tree, and with branches, you know, just very minimum. You don't want to overdo it, and just creating, you know, like simple shapes, and also the shadow area. So I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did enjoy my video, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and also make sure to like it, and also make comments below. And until next time, thank you so much for watching again. Bye bye.